Morning.
Bonjour Sylvain.
Bonjour Eli.
Wow, Manuel, you have like a huge space to train.
Yeah, it's the gym here close. It's really nice because it has a lot of mirrors, so you can always see what you're doing wrong.
Oh, that's great, man. I'm currently in the living room.
Ah,
What are you doing, Gabby? Morning, Nick.
Good morning.
Don't know if you can hear me, Eli. I don't seem to have audio. I'm probably going to have to reset my computer. So hope to be back with you in a couple of minutes.
It's nice to start training when the sun's coming up. It's one time in the week. Although it's all cloudy this morning, so there's no sunrise. But you know, that's what I get for moving to Wales, so. All right.
Yeah, we have the same here. Like sun was when we were in Malta over Christmas, and the next sun will be when we are in April in Malta.
Yeah. No, we've actually had some really nice weather overall since we've moved here. We've had loads of sunny days and nice, calm, sunny days, like where there's no wind and it's just, crisp and cool, and been hiking up the mountain. Overall,
Nice.
it's been good. I mean, obviously, we don't get as much sun as Malta, for example. But then in Malta, when you live there the whole year, you realize it's not perfect all the time. It's beautiful, but you get a lot of wind, for example. And then in the summer, if it's windy, because it's dry, it's windy and dusty windy. So you as much like I actually would more likely go out for a walk or whatever in the rain here than in the wind in Malta. So yeah, no, it can all vary around. Australia though, where I grew up, I must say the weather there was pretty damn perfect. You can't really beat that because the sort of northern rivers area of Australia, northern New South Wales, you get the same amount of rainfall each year as wet European countries, such as Sweden and Wales and so on. But it comes in big clumps, so you don't
Yeah,
have
okay.
drizzle all throughout the year. So you get a lot more sunshine, but you still get just as much greenery because everything's luscious from all the rain they get. As long as you don't mind the heat, because it is still very hot there. Like summer is, high 30s and low 40s often. So if you're used to the heat, if you like the heat, then it's perfect. But yeah, I'm not such a fan of the heat anymore. So I'd have to go back there and live there for at least 5 years or something, probably, to get used to the heat. Because when I was there or when I was in Malta last, it was just, I don't want to go outside. It's too hot. All right, let's get some training happening, shall we? All right, we're good to go. Sound is on, recording's on, camera's on. All right, let's move a little bit, and then we'll do some something of something. Start with this one. Arms out to the sides. Squeeze your scapula into your spine. Breathing in, stretching up, standing onto the balls of your feet. Tall as you can, reach up and relax down. Back onto your heels and repeat. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Bring your hands straight up the front this time, breathing in. And then the reverse, so squeeze your shoulder blades back at the rear as you relax your hands down. Breathing in, straight up the front, standing onto your toes. Up, 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 reach, reach, reach. Now imagine like your elbows and your palms are on the wall behind you, sliding them back until they come down to your sides. Same again, breathing in. And relax. Open and close. Push your chest out. Downwardly rotate your pelvis by sticking your bum out, bending your knees, pushing your elbows back, shoulders back and down. You're squeezing them back and down towards your bum. Pull your palms back, look up, chest up, and then reverse all of that. Breathe out and curl up into a ball. Open it up, breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Just making sure that all these joints are moving to their maximum mobility range. Okay, close up again, and when you closed up, squeeze everything in, and then wriggle your bum. So you're just stretching your spine, opening and closing one side. So you're moving your shoulder away from your hip on one side, and of course that means it's going closer on the other side. So I'm pushing this hip away from the shoulder, opening up this side, which means the left side, of course, is compressing. Then I do the reverse of that. And then relax. And then stand up. Link your fingers, breathe in, breathe out. Again, curl up into a ball, but stretching your arms out in front of you this time. Relax the hands, lean forward, lift up with your palms, straight back. Then stand up. And again, like as if you're sliding your palms and your elbows on the wall behind you, and then relax towards the bottom. Same again, in breath, hinge forward, rounding yourself into a ball. Straighten your back as you breathe in. Lift your palms up without arching your back. Breathe out. Then breathe in and stand up. And again, slide your palms down the wall behind you till they get to the bottom and relax. One more time. Breathe in. Round into a ball. Breathing out. Breathing in as you hinge forward. Straighten your spine. Lift your palms up. Breathe out. Breathe in, standing up. And breathe out, relaxing down. Hinge forward from your hips. Either just to 45 degrees, if you find that's difficult enough, or down to 90 degrees, if you're okay with that. Listen to your own body. Relax your spine so it hangs down. Everything's just rounded up and hanging. Then straighten your spine up. Head as well. Back's nice and straight now, still hinged forward. Then relax everything down. Straighten it up again. Relax everything down. Straighten up again. Relax. And roll it up. Open, close. Keep it going. In breath open, out breath closed. Neutralize. Hinge forward, same again. Sinking down 45 or 90. Relax the spine. This time when you flex the spine and straighten it, you're going to flap your arms out to the sides, directly to the sides, squeezing your shoulder blades back and down. Then relax. Straighten up again, same thing, squeeze them up. One more time. Squeeze them up. Now from this position, you're going to swim. Bring your hands forward and backwards, and forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards. Keeping them up. Again, you can come up to 45 degrees if you wish, like so, if you're finding it's too much. But remember, at this angle, notice how the hands are following the angle of the body. I'm not going here, for example. Now I'm not using my shoulder muscles. I'm keeping it up, in line with my spine. And then relax out. So just remember, anything that you do when you're doing your warm-ups, if you feel like, oh, there's a pinch there, or a weakness there, or a really tight spot there, anything that's wrong with your body, okay, that's unique to your body, doing all of these movements will help show up any problems that you have with your body. Currently, I have a bit of a problem with my shoulder. So if I wake up in the morning and do these exercises straight away, I'll find like, oh, certain postures, it kind of pinches a certain point. But what I do is, I do about a 10-minute specific to me shoulder exercise before I start class. So that way, any movements that I do with my shoulders are completely freed up, mobile, nothing impinging or anything. But I don't include that in class because it might be a bit of a sort of boring waste of time for people who don't have a shoulder injury. So yeah, certain things are very unique to you. And I mean, it's not that they would be useless. If I showed you those, yeah, you'd probably get something out of it. But if you don't have that injury, like if I didn't have that injury, I'd do something a little bit more full-bodied rather than like, oh no, I need to focus in on that specific thing that is needed for me. So you need to work out, because I'm sure you all have little niggles somewhere around your bodies, work out what they are and just try to start your own training even 5 minutes before we start class. Like, let's say you've got a hip problem. Okay, so I know I've got a hip issue, so I'm going to do lots of hip, just 5 minutes of moving that hip, whatever you need to do to get that hip a little more warmed up, so that when you go into these postures, you're not going, oh, that hip's playing up again. So listen to your own body and do what you need to do just for a few minutes before we start the general training of class. Okay, let's get our legs moving. Let's try this one first. My favorite. Squatting down, elbow to knee. Just as far as you can go, as low as you can go. Either just to there, maybe just to there, or if you can go lower, try to get down till you can touch your knee. And I'm doing that by squatting down and leaning forward, a bit of a half and half. So I'm not staying straight, but nor am I just leaning forward. I am bending my knees down in order to get me into that position. The arm in front of me is closing up that body to really engage the pectoral through here and the inner sides of the shoulder. The other arm, of course, is squeezing out to the rear, squeezing the scapula back into the spine. The weight is sinking into that leg that I'm touching. Let's keep it going, but I'm going to go into the pivot version, which you've all probably seen by now. So I'm going to pivot on the balls of my feet. If you find this one too difficult, just continue doing level 1 that we've just done. Pivot. So my standing leg, my front leg, has pivoted 135 degrees. Okay, so this leg now, my left leg is going to pivot to that rear corner, sink down, touch. The dropping down and touching, it's exactly the same movement. You're just pivoting into this spiral first before you drop down. Pivoting back, pivoting down. Make sure your weight is in the heel of that front leg when you drop. So you go onto the ball of the foot, of course, as you pivot, but then the weight is back on the heel of the front foot. Of course, the rear foot is still on the ball of the foot. If you can get that rear knee to touch the ground without putting any weight on it, again, listen to your own body. Don't go to the next steps if you're finding it's too much. Just stay with that first step. And even if you need to take a breather, just stop for a moment and then come back in. So, you could be doing reps, like do 5, then skip 2, and then do another 5, and then skip the next 2, things like that, so that you're doing it at the level which your body can manage. Okay, the last level, from there, touch your knee and then touch your bum. That's the most difficult, especially the getting back up, back to there, listen to your own body, touch your knee, touch your bum, coming back up, pivoting, around, touch your knee, touch your bum. You can do this one like this with your hands behind you, you see, and then push yourself back up using your hands. So because it's quite a difficult move and you need a lot of mobility to be able to do this one. So touch your knee, put your hand behind you, sit down a little, and then use that hand to help you get back up, especially given that your legs might be getting a little bit sore by this point. One more. Just relax your legs out a little bit. Okay, let's give them a bit of a stretching and an opening up. So what do we do? Front lunge, boom. Okay, nothing too major yet. Just wriggle around a little bit as we always do, stretching into that rear quadricep, hip flexors through here. Up and down, flexing and pointing that toe, pushing the heel down, moving that ankle around. Switch legs. Same thing, really lengthen through that back leg. Feel that rear ankle moving, pushing up onto the toe, pushing down into the heel. Da-de-da. Coming up. All right, let's do a pigeon because we haven't done a pigeon in a while. So we're going to sink down. Crawl yourself forward, put your knees on the floor if you need to. Into here. Bring one foot forward to the outside of your palms, facing out at 45 degrees. My foot is pointing out to the corner, so my hip is very, very open. Point your rear toe onto the floor and lengthen through that back leg. Open it all up. Okay, turn towards your standing leg. Your front leg. Turn towards your front leg. Feel this stretching action coming down through the side here. And then if you can, lower your body down to get your elbows on the floor. Stretching through that front glute a little more. Coming back up. Flip it around into this position, so up on the ball of the foot of this leg, like so, and sinking down through this hamstring. Hamstring should be nice and warm from all those squats we just did earlier. Just moving it around, not one specific position, just moving around that hamstring. Then bend the knee a little bit and feel the difference in the stretch. When your knee is bent, you'll obviously be able to lean further into the posture because your knee is bent. Okay, crawl towards that leg, staying low, into the complete opposite position. Point the rear toe, lengthen through that back hip, stretching around. And turn your body towards your standing leg, your front leg. Bringing that stretch through the quad, through the hip flexors, through the side of the hip by turning in. And then turn back to the front. Drop your elbows down if you're able to. If not, then just sink as low as you can. Coming back up, flipping it around. Stretchy stretch. Opening up those hamstrings. Boom, 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 go my hamstrings. Remember that Judy Garland song? Oh no, that was Heartstrings. Bend your knee. Stretch in. Okay, again, crawl back to the front. Now bring your front leg under your body, like so, and just sit down onto the floor like that. Now most of you should be able to get into this position. This is pretty easy, unless you're extremely stiff. You should be able to sit on the floor in this position. So all you're going to do from here is push your body down over this leg, like so, from this side-on position, okay? So lean down into it. A lot of people try to do pigeon from this position, and they're trying to, and they're just doing this kind of thing, and it's horrible. It's really uncomfortable. It's not a nice stretch. If you're at a certain level of flexibility and you can't even get into the posture, it doesn't feel nice like this. It feels much better to sit back on your bum this way. You get a better stretch out of it, and then gradually lean your body in from the side. You see, you'll still be stretching that glute and hamstring on that front leg. You see? And of course, if you are past a certain level of flexibility, then turn your hips right over and lay down on top of that leg. So do it to whatever level you can. Now from this position, if you are in the side position, you should still be able to do this. Grab your foot, you see? And you're going to stretch your chest. Now notice how I'm grabbing my foot on the big toe side of my foot, and then I'm pushing my foot away from my body, like behind my body, to stretch and open up all through this area here. Now I'm doing it in the more upright position, but again, even if I sit back here, I can still get the same thing happening, you see? So whichever one you're in, you can still do this follow-on exercise. And then the follow-on again is to bring the foot in to stretch through the leg. Again, if you sat back here, you should still be able to do that. You see, it's more extreme if you're coming forward onto this position, but if you sat back, you're still able to pull that in. Okay, so you could pull it in and then kind of go, okay, see, lean into it a little bit, try and come a little bit forward, and if maybe you can manage to roll over onto that front side, then great. But if not, don't worry about it. It's just progressing little bit by little bit each day. Okay, release that one. Switch sides, so just lift that up into a plank. Just stretch your legs out a little. So you're going to walk with your feet. Just press one heel into the ground, followed by the other. You should feel a nice stretch through your calf and your hamstring. Bring the other leg to the front. Again, you might need to roll to the side a little bit, like so, and then push your body down. Feel how far you can go using your hands to stabilize the movement. And of course, if you can roll fully over into the position, then do it like that. I'm still moving. I'm not just lying here having a sleep. I'm still wriggling my body around. Moving here and there. Now grab your rear foot from the big toe side and stretch through the chest again. And then see if you can pull that foot in at all. Stretch through the quads. Again, doesn't need to look like this. You just need to be feeling. If you're feeling a stretch, you might already be feeling a stretch in the quad here. So just focus on the quad rather than the shoulder. You don't have to pull it in so your foot touches your bum, because if you've got a certain amount of tension in there, shorter muscles, it's not going to work. So you just got to gradually lengthen through there. Sit naturally. Take one foot out to the side. Lean over to that side. Notice I'm closing my hips. I'm not staying open this way. I'm closing my hips. I'm going to drag it back in. sitting upright. Take the other leg out, take it out. See, once it gets to, I don't know, about 45 degrees or so, as it goes to the rear, you see the hip turns over. And then bring it back as the hip turns back up, you see. Switch the legs, take it over, sliding that foot on the floor, switch the legs, bring it around. Now, if you're okay with that, then the next round, try and do it with your foot off the ground. So no sliding. Off the ground. No sliding. But don't worry, if you're still sliding your foot, just try to slide your foot less. So instead of having lots of pressure on the foot, just have a little less pressure on that sliding. So a gentle brushing rather than a pressured sliding kind of thing. Okay, and now the last round. This is the most difficult one. It's actually kind of easier if you put your hands behind you. So I've got one hand here, like so, just leaning on it. I'm going to pull this leg in and throw this leg out in one motion and throw my weight over onto the other hand. So I go, you see, like that. Nice little floor rolling movement. Now I'm in that same position on the other side, you see? Same position we were just in before we went into the pigeon. Okay, so take your palm there, throw it around and come down to here. Throw it around, come down to here. Throw it around, come down to here. Using that hand at the rear to help me move, to push my body. Whee! You see, I'm pushing from my hand and just spinning on my bum. And also just for stability to help my body. This one even, see now I'm sliding my feet. I'm still lifting to some degree, but maybe I don't have the strength to lift them completely off the ground. So that's fine, I can still slide my feet on the ground, you see. If I can pick them off the ground, great. Do a silent twist. And then try and do it with your hands off the ground. Always stick with the level that's comfortable for you. And back to center. Stand up, sit on your ankles. Just sitting like a samurai. Just rocking your weight back and forth across the ankles. See if you can bring one foot up to the front, like so. And see if you can bring your weight forward and bring this foot up into a squat. If you feel like you can't, you just physically can't do it, then put your fingers on the ground and use a little bit of aid to help you and come up into the squat and then sink. Okay? Try and do it again. Just lift your bum up a little bit, as much as you need to. Support from the fingers. Take your foot back. Take your foot back and sit down. So obviously the higher you come up, if you come right up like this, most people should be able to do that, you see. And then up, and then down, and then down, and then down. So that the further you come up, the easier the movement is. So if you can, try to do it where you're at least keeping your fingertips on the ground, like so. And if you're okay with that, try and do it with your fists on the ground. And if you're okay with that, try and do it with your palms behind you. See? And if you're okay with that, try and do it with your hands off the ground, but still staying low, you see? Like so. And then try and do it both feet together with your palms on the ground. And then feet together, palms off the ground. Okay. All right, let's do some Taiji form. All right, let's just do the Taiji form. Actually, I'm going to give you a couple of tips, just some details on the hands for fishes in 8, just for 5 minutes or so. Then we'll finish by doing the form with that new knowledge. So then when we get to fishes in 8, hopefully you can integrate what I show you about the hands for fishes in 8. A few classes ago, can't remember what day it was, but I always put it in the description. You would have got the email saying, today we did details on the weight shifting of fishes in 8 and sit back ready. So you should know which one that is based on the email that you got. If you didn't watch that one, I advise having a look at it because it goes into a lot of detail as to exactly where to place the weight as we're doing the movements. So I won't talk too much about that weight unless it's to say, like, as you shift into here, your hands are in this position, but I'm not going to focus on the weight because I already did that in a different class. Today I'm going to focus on exactly where the hands should be at what point in the movement. So we'll have a quick go at that and then we'll do the whole form, the whole first third. Right, let's just drill it a couple of times each side first, just to warm into it. So let's start facing this way so that you can see me as we're moving. So we're starting from the posture of Ang, press, sit back ready. Just follow me through. To here. Other side. Exact reverse. Again. Okay, so a few things to really be focused on when you're doing that posture. We did sit back ready. I'm pretty sure I gave the details of the hands in sit back ready in the last class. So we're just going to look at fishes in 8 specifically because that's the most difficult part anyway. So we've tucked back. I'll do it so I'm turning towards you now just so you can see everything that's happening with the hands. So we've tucked back into sit back ready. The shoulders have turned to my right. I've gone open, close, you see? So that the centering back, 1, 2. It's a little snake movement backwards. Just remember that the left hand has to come in as I turn to my left. You see? As I explained last time, don't let it go like this and then come in. It comes straight in. Most important. Okay, so everything's tucked in. Tucked back, your weight's back, your hips are back, your shoulders back, the whole right side of your body is pulling back, loading you up to strike out into this movement. So that's your next movement. Look at fishes innate. In the beginning, obviously it does become one flowing action. However, within that flowing action, in the same way that, you know, this, look at this, first movement, look. That's all one flowing action, but there's an intent here, there's an intent here, there's an intent here, there's an intent here, there's different intents, because once you understand the application, even though the movement seems to be flowing directly into the next posture, it not seems to be, it is flowing into the next posture, but your mind knows that, ooh, something happened there, something happened there, nothing happened here, and something happened here, this kind of thing. So your mind is still projecting force, even if you're just flowing through the movement. Okay, so we're sat back, ready. We simply turn the whole center towards the front. So we call this the north. That's where we would have started the form. There's no reason in the form that you have to actually start the form facing to the north. No one in history has ever felt anything different if they face to the east when they start, or the west, or anything like that. Some people believe that it's absolutely paramount that you do face the north when you start your form. It's not really. It's probably just where the guys invented it. That was a nice view, and so that's where I'm going to start my form, you see. I always say that you should do your form to the direction that gives you the nicest energy. So if facing to the south when you start is a beautiful looking out into the forest or the mountains or something, whereas facing the north is looking at a brick wall, better to face that way. Okay, anyway, so we're going to call the camera my north, okay? Sitting back. Okay, so look where I am now. I'm on the north. Facing the north, shoulders on the north, hips on the north, everything's facing the north. Like so. Okay? Okay, I'm going to be more pedantic with you. I'll be pedantic this morning. Sometimes we just say, just turn everything to the north. But actually, the center is just off the north. The hands are on the north, like as if, you see this wall here? Yeah, you can see that. Okay, so if that's my north wall, okay, imagine, see, both my hands are slapping that wall, so they're facing the wall. But my center is just a little bit in from that wall, okay? Because my wrist is not in my center, it's my fingertips that are in my center, you see? Like so. If I were to put my wrist on my center, I feel too closed to get force in that arm, to pull his arm, so I feel too closed up, and now my shoulders would be facing the front. What I want to be doing is, see that? Can you see there? There's my center, just a little bit off center, because my fingertips are on my center when I slap this front wall. Vroom, slap. There's the first movement. Hence why that foot has not yet reached the north. It hasn't quite turned all the way in yet, because the hips haven't turned all the way in yet. Okay? So, hands here, like so. So they've slapped there. They're both yang, thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay, like so. Now, here's the tricky bit. You have to move your left hand out of the way. Right? Just extend the elbow. Boom. Just straighten the arm out. Move it out of the way, like so. But not over this way, like a washing the window. Not down this way. Not any other version. Just straighten your elbow. Not to fully straight, of course, but just straighter. Boom. Now fill that space with your right hand. But your right hand is going to wash the window. You see? So my palm stays facing the wall like this. Okay, that's what we call, whenever we say it's like you're washing a window, it's like you're doing this. Okay. So when the hands hit the north, your body keeps turning, but your hands do that second movement. So the left hand moves out of the way, your right hand washes the window. Now, it doesn't truly wash the window. It's an analogy, obviously, because the body keeps turning, you see. If I stayed here, yes, the hand would wash the window, you see. That's what your hands have to do. But my center keeps turning, so actually the whole angle changes out to the corner. From here, we get this. So the hand is, yeah, sort of, it's a curved glass, I guess. So 1, 2. So at that point, that's when I'm 70-30, as I explained in the weight shift the other day. So I'm still mostly weighted in that left foot at that point when this drops in. The fingers should be just off the elbow. Sometimes we tell beginners just to touch the elbow, just to give them a good placement for the hands. But to be pedantic, it should be just off the elbow. You shouldn't really be touching there, like so. So you're very much closed in now. The wrist of my right hand is on my center. My short arm is on my center, like so. You see, if I turn to the front, whereas the fingertips of my long arm are on my center. Okay, so there's where your center line is coming out through here, like so. Fold it over. Boom. See how that movement and that foot kind of happen together. Boom. See? Boom. So there's an intent. There's intent there. There's something happening. Elbows dropped, elbows relaxed, but both thumbs are pointed down. Maybe I'd say about 45 degrees-ish down. So not vertically down like that. That's too much. Now, all you have to do from here, as you shift your weight back to that 55% mark, so just before you actually cross over into the right side, once you cross that 50-50 mark, before you cross that 50-50 mark, you just tuck your hands in. See, at this point I can still feel fractionally more weight in my left leg. As my hands have relaxed, they've both gone yin and they've tucked in slightly. Don't tuck them right in like this. Just bring your left arm, your long arm, in sort of to the same level that your right arm is. So your right arm's already quite tucked, you see. So bring your left arm in to tuck in to your right arm. From this position, here's another tricky bit. Turn your center to the right corner, out here. Shift your weight to your right leg and push your palms into the exact same hand position that you were on that side. Only, of course, they're getting there differently. They're pumping into the movement this time instead of kind of sweeping in from the side. But the final shape is still the same. Okay, now my weight is about, I'd say, probably 80 to 90%. With these percentages, there's never an exact point. You don't have to get the scales out and check that there's exactly this or that. But you're pretty strongly down into that right leg. Basically, at this point, you should have enough weight in your right leg so that you can just go sink, lift, you see? Sink and lift. It's like not much to go kind of thing. Rather than like, I don't know, if I was, say, here, maybe I'm about 60% now. Now it's like sink, lift. It was too long, and then lift. There was a big long movement before I could lift my foot. So that's why I say like I'm probably about 80 to 90%, because then I can just, someone looking would kind of almost think you're picking up the foot almost as you're sinking, you see, because that sink is happening just a fraction before the foot can pick up. So that means you're quite solidly down in that leg. So it's tucking in and pumping out. But notice here, look, I'm turning my center to my right when I do that movement. Don't make the mistake everyone makes by turning first and then opening to the side. Now I can't do single whip. I also didn't do that posture correctly, but I'm now not in a tucked position to perform single whip. Now I have to load myself back in order to carry on into single whip. So this posture is a barging in technique, okay? You're standing here, whatever, and you're going, vroom! That's your technique. You see, you're barging into someone. It's a body weight powered strike. I mean, the waist is still turning, but it's more like your body, boom, your body weight is crushing onto him, you see? As opposed to, boom, like a snappy punching type of action. But people aren't used to using that kind of power, and so subconsciously they come to here, their body thinks, oh, I've got to hit something there, so they load it in and then push it out. But if you do that, you've blocked his arm, Now you're going to strike, which means he's going to block that for sure. And then you're totally open on this side. So instead, as you hit his arm, you just strike directly into his body from the side. Okay, one more time. Turn to the north. Wash the window, extend that left arm. Here's a tip. Really make sure, look, what I said earlier about that left palm, see how the thumb is down? And as I do, I'll just turn this way a little bit so you can see. See how that thumb is not moving? It's not doing this. Now the thumb's not pointing down. This posture, from a health point of view, from a brain function health point of view, so really good for, care homes and things like that, keeping older people's minds working so they don't go into things like Alzheimer's. What we want to do here is, the right hand is doing this. So what do? We do the same thing with both hands. That's what we always do. Whenever there's some dominant action, this is the more obvious action, so we tend to follow that. Or, okay, I'm going to focus on this hand. Focus on this hand. Right, okay, I've got it. Focus on this. Ah, shit. The other hand did the same thing. Now they're both doing the same thing again. So the point here is that one hand has to go over and down. The other hand has to go out. So you're getting that change. Okay? Doing something different with the left and right sides. Really good for the coordination and the health of the brain. Tucking in now everything's working together and together as we come back to the other side. All right, now armed with that knowledge, of course you've got that recording. You can go through that again if you wish, but I'll leave it there for now. We'll just drill that a couple of times each side, hopefully let it sink in a little bit, and then we'll do the whole first third to close everything up. Okay, let's try it. See, my center is out here. I have not opened my center. For future reference, now I open my center, you see, and then close it, and then open it again into single whip. One more time. Other side. Sit back. Same again. All right, let's try the whole form. We'll do right side today. Whole first third. Here we go. In breath. Here we go. Fishes in 8. Slap the wall in front of you. Wash the window. Keep the left thumb down. Tuck the weight in. Press out. Keep your body turning to your right. Now open your body. Close your body. Sink your weight. And into single whip. Tuck that pelvis on brush knee. Tuck it under. Feel strong. Feel solid. Way to turn. Feel that opening up of the rear hip, and then use that momentum to spring it up into your knee strike and tucking that pelvis under. Good morning.
Hey.
Are you saying goodbye? That was nice. Any questions?
Please, obviously I don't know the form at all. So there's a bit where you were at the wall and you took a couple of steps back. I assume that wasn't part of the form. That was just to give you space.
Exactly. Yep.
I didn't want to copy the.
Yep. Yeah, we've got a small space here, so you'll notice those little step back bits occasionally. Yeah.
I've got one, Eli. See, in regards to the stretching, you were talking about the elements. I've had like spine issues this last year.
Yep.
I've got fusion at the top, and it's like, it's a bit of bulging at the bottom.
Okay.
I really struggle in the mornings. Like, see, when I get out of bed, it takes me to get across the bed.
Yeah.
Like, it's just finding one of those exercises. I did find one. It was opening up the hip and it was making it easier, and like for the bulge around here.
Okay.
I forget what one it was, but like, yeah, it's just like, if you had any tips for the spine.
I mean, the spine in general, obviously you've got some very specific issues there, especially when it comes to things like you've got fused vertebra and things like that. My advice is always check with a professional physiotherapist or someone like that. I'm not a professional physiotherapist. I'm a movement therapist. Yes, I know a lot about that stuff, but I'm not a licensed physiotherapist. So my advice to you as far as doing the things here, go along with whichever ones we're doing. And if you find a certain movement really goes, oh, that one really loosens it off and that one feels good, well then, do that one a bit more before we start class. Use that as your little pre-warm up for class.
Yeah.
I would recommend in your case to see a professional, and they should be able to tell you exactly for your body. And also because, obviously this is via video as well. So you need to physically go to someone, they can feel your body, see all the muscles, which ones are functioning well, which ones aren't, and then give you the specific exercises that you need to make your body function better.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because 2 weeks ago I had to go in and get an MRI scan.
Oh yeah?
And it showed you like at the top where it started pinching in a little bit.
Yeah.
And I spoke to the neurosurgeon, whatever, and he was saying, and like, whether he's thinking about doing surgery, but he needs to look at the timeline in which it's happened.
Okay.
Because I'm 49, I'm 50 this year.
Yeah.
And if it's been a gradual over the last 10 years, they might not even do surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was speaking about going in through the front or the back.
Okay.
Too old for that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
In regards to like the physiotherapy I've had in the past, I've always came back to the Taiji because a lot of it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
But I always found just going through the form really helped me, and like the Yang Chen Fu form.
Yeah.
Just going through the whole lot of that, and by the time I got to the end of it, and like that's when I was like,
physiotherapy, acupuncture, chiropractor, osteopaths, all of them. They're very hit and miss. In all of those different things, a lot of people are like, osteopaths, garbage. You want to go to a chiropractor. And then someone else is the reverse of that. Oh no, osteopath is so much better than chiropractor, and so on. And that's because they've been to a chiropractor who sucks. They've been to an osteopath who's amazing. I've been to all the different types of therapists, and I've found like one therapist in that style who is amazing. And any little problem I go in with, they're like, oh yeah, and I'm like, oh my God, I feel 20 years younger. And it lasts. That's the important thing. No good if it just feels great for the day and then it goes back again. Then that's useless. But then, I went to like 5 different therapists for a neck problem. I just couldn't. I don't know what I'd done to it, but I couldn't bend my neck backwards. And they'd go, a bit of release for the day, nothing for the rest of it. Found this one lady, she was a chiropractor, but it was like, are you really a chiropractor? Because you don't seem to do anything like all the other chiropractors. 90% of chiropractors, we went to one in Australia, My wife and I both had completely different issues with our bodies. And it was like, I was looking like, you did exactly the same thing to me that you did to Fran. So that doesn't make sense to me. If we've got totally, it's like they just do the general overbody, click, click, click. Yep, you're done. Next person, click, click, click. That'll be $50, thanks, for 3 minutes of click, click, click. Whereas this other lady in Swansea that I found, Julie, she was just amazing. She hardly ever cracked a joint. She was much more working with the tissue, which is a far better way to do it. And then if something just won't move, a gentle nudge in the right direction rather than just cracking everything where it's not willing to go. But she fixed every problem I went in there for. And she fixed it within 1 session and it never came back. And that was chiropractor. But a lot of people have this bad image of chiropractic. It's Western, it's American, and it doesn't work. We should go with the Eastern acupuncture. But vice versa, I've been to one acupuncturist who is amazing. And I'm like, how did you, what? You put one needle there and my shoulder moves again. How did you do that? And then all the other 10 that I've been to, it's like, yeah, you made me feel a bit relaxed, but I can get that out of my Taiji and nothing happened. So yeah, all of these therapies, it doesn't matter which one it is, they're very, very hit and miss. So you've got to find one who, and it doesn't matter what the qualifications are either. Like I asked this lady, this chiropractor lady who I was amazed with, I said, look, what did you train? I want to know what that is so I can find someone else where I live, because she was in Swansea and I was then living in Australia. I looked up a few people. I sent her the links because we'd become a little bit friends. And she said, okay, yeah, this guy here, he literally trained at the same university that I trained at. The same place. He's had exactly the same training. So great. Went down there. He was the shittest chiropractor I've ever been to.
Oh.
So it is totally, like me teaching Taiji. There's other WTBA instructors out there who have been teaching for as long as I have, but they just, oh yeah, do a bit of this, they're not as passionate about it. This woman that I went to, she's like, why is that not fixing? You could see the look on her face. She was, I'm going to work this out. I'm going to figure out what's wrong with your shoulder. She was so determined to figure out what was wrong with my shoulder that she managed to do it. But the other guys I've been to, they're like, oh yeah, it's probably this problem, so I'll do this and send you off on your way. It's like just, person in, person out kind of thing. So yeah, very, very hit and miss with all of those therapies.
Yeah.
Okay, go on, Clara. What do you want to show them? Oh, Clara has to show you something, apparently.
Let's see.
Don't worry, in 20 years from now, you'll probably still be all learning Taiji from her.
Yeah.
I hope so. That would be lovely. I'll settle for that in 20 years' time.
Or you've got the next Alex Hammond on your hands.
Yep.
To be free climbing up the side of her face.
Great job, Clara. Now, one of my students, actually, one of our senior instructors now, I think he's 10 years older than me, and he made a comment when I was about 10 or something to his training partner. He's like doing some push hands. He's like, you know what? See that little shit over there, playing around with his mates? I bet we're gonna be learning from him one day, aren't we? He went, yeah, probably. And then 20 years later, he sort of remembered that at a workshop. And he's like, it happened. I'm going to Eli's workshops. So,
yeah.
All right, guys.
Thank
you very much for your time. And next class Monday morning. What is Monday morning? 8 o'clock, isn't it? Yeah, I think 8 o'clock Monday morning. Normal sort of general stuff. And then Tuesday morning, Bagua. Remind me to do Bagua on Tuesday morning.
Cool.
All right, thanks very much, guys. See you soon.
Bye. See you.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, Eli.
Thanks,
Thank you.